Hi, my name is Deb Enright, and this is Money Matters. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, as always, to Daryl Thompson for his generous support of our show. Today, we're going to take another segment and look at a particular portion of the Chamber program we've been talking about that's called the Speakers Bureau. Well, what does that mean? Well, we're going to bring community members and executives from our business world to come into our classrooms and talk with our kids about why it's relevant to take certain classes. So joining me today is David Allen, who is the Executive Director of Career and Technical Education for Williamson County Schools. Dave, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Deb.
So we're going to kind of set it up. Explain what a Speakers Bureau is as it relates to the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Well, Deb, Speakers Bureau is having a database, if you will, of businesses or people from those businesses that are willing to come in and speak about their organization, their industry, to our students, to a classroom at a time, or maybe even a couple of classrooms or a whole school if it worked out to be so. So that Speakers Bureau is something that our teachers could look into to find people that would fit what they're doing in the particular classroom at that time. I think it's a little different than maybe what you and I experienced when we had speakers come into our classroom. I knew I was always excited when I'd have a speaker come into the classroom, but there were times that maybe it didn't exactly fit what we were doing, and maybe it was an opportunity for the teacher to take a little time off.
Right.
This Speakers Bureau is much different than that. This is targeted to specifically what is happening in the classroom at that time, and it helps the kids relate what they're doing in the classroom to a bigger picture, if you will.
Okay, so, and although you are kind of the captain of the career and technical ship, I know that this Speakers Bureau, under your guidance, is going to really also include the liberal arts kids. Mm-hmm. So the kid who's taking history and thinking about becoming a lawyer maybe, mm-hmm. Or maybe a historian, whatever that would mean. So mm-hmm. It's really kind of a broad brushstroke of people. Am I right about that?
Absolutely. Obviously it fits in career and technical education, but everything that we do in the classroom, as a former teacher, as a former principal, we were always looking for opportunities to show kids how it really works outside of the classroom, to expand the classroom walls. So certainly not just in career education is that going to happen. It's going to happen in every single classroom. So across all of our classrooms in Williamson County, we're looking for opportunities for people to come in and say, okay, this is what it really looks like outside of these four walls.
Okay, but it would go beyond how to do a resume, and I thought I majored in this and then I ended up doing this. It's really also to show that the relevance of the curriculum, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it's about relevance, right? Mm-hmm.
It's about, that's exactly what it's about. It's about relevance. It is what they're doing in the classroom and how it relates to the real world.
Okay, so we have community people who are going to come in and do that, and we have a brave soul who's going to join us, Tracy from Blink Marketing. Mm-hmm. So you and I can maybe ask her what the experience was like. Maybe she can give us some pointers and encourage some of our folks in the community to do the same thing. So stay here.
Okay, I will.
Okay, we'll bring Tracy from Blink Marketing on in just a moment. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is Money Matters. And welcome back to Money Matters. We're joined now by Tracy Hill of Blink Marketing. And Tracy's here to tell you all the magic of going in front of high school kids who are interested, or maybe not, about what she actually does for her living and trying to make it, and I think successfully is what I've understood, successfully make it relevant to what they're studying. So it's like having an in-house expert for an entire classroom time to talk about what she does, maybe what she's learned so far in her industry, why she's still in her industry, and maybe something cool that the industry does. She's brought a really neat thing for us to walk through. But first, let's talk to Tracy, and Dave's still with us too. So Tracy, let's see. When you heard about talking in front of a class, can you kind of walk me through how that happened? Did you just walk into a high school one day and say, hey, I'm here to talk, or how easy was it?
It was real easy. I was asked if I would be interested in speaking to some of the marketing classes, and of course I said yes, I'd love to.
Great. So walk through the process with me.
Well, an email went out, and some of the teachers who were interested in having me come talk to the students emailed me, and we just set up a time. When I got there, I figured hopefully I would know more than the students would know, and I wanted them to be excited. So I just went in with something we had recently done at Blink Marketing, and we just went through the process and talked about different ways, talked about logos, talked about artwork, just talked about everything really that goes into it, and the students engaged and asked questions.
So did you go into tell me what class you went into, or classes?
I went into the marketing class at Summit.
Okay.
Was the first one that I went in, and I think I spoke to 2 or 3 classes.
Okay. Were they all marketing classes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, all students that are interested in marketing. And, you know, some kids you could tell were more interested in it than others.
Sure.
I had one student who was real interested in wanting to work in the sports industry. And so we were able to talk about all the branded articles in the sports industry. And we talked about when you see the swoosh, what company is it connected to? And so they really picked up on how important logos are just based on that.
Oh, I love that. So, so Dave, when somebody wants to come in and talk, the Speakers Bureaus, we're working through the Williamson Chamber and their directive. Tell us how easy that is. I mean, it sounded like for Tracy, it was really a phone call of like, would you like to? And then all of a sudden, she's touching kids in she's reaching kids in 3 different classes. So,
Yeah.
can you?
Well, the object is to reach out and to get people that are interested in coming and speaking, and then from that comes the teacher interest in having those people come. So it's my job as Director of Career and Technical Education to connect those 2 dots, if you will. So to me, it's as easy as sending me an email at davida1@wcs.edu. And if they can get that information to me that they would like to be a part of that Speakers Bureau, then I will make sure that they get signed up and walk them through the process and let them know exactly how easy it is. And I'd like to ask Tracy, you know, one of the things that I hear when we reach out to people and ask them to be part of that Speakers Bureau is, well, I don't really know what to say. I don't really know what to do. So when you went into that classroom, how did you know what to do?
Well, everybody knows what they do in their daily job, and so I just think about, you know, what's important, what do we think about, what steps do we take, what industries. Just talked about what I do every day. So anybody that goes to work every day could easily do that.
Well, I think you're underestimating, because we have some trainings through the chamber that Dave and I do to let people know exactly kind of what it might be like to go into the classroom. And I think it's quite special that you were so at ease. It is something to talk about your field, but I think it's another to understand what it might be like to engage kids at different ages, certainly, and certainly in high school. I mean, when you're talking about marketing at a marketing class, that's really cool because the relevance bridge is already kind of there. But I think some of the things we do with our training is kind of the what to do and maybe what to think about not doing kinds of things. So, any butterflies before you walked into the classrooms?
Oh, sure. I hadn't spoke to 30 people at one time, and I didn't know if they would be bored, excited. So yeah, I had to really think through what I was going to say and what did I want to show them and that sort of thing. But as soon as I got there, I was real comfortable. The teacher helped with that though too.
Oh, talk to me about that.
Well, she was just great as far as making me feel comfortable. When I walked in and showed her some of the things, she's like, just go up front and take it over. She brought up our website on the smart board and introduced Blink Marketing through our website and kind of how fun we are and different things like that. And so they could see that side of it too. It wasn't just generic. And
so really it sounds like it was a collaboration. So it's not as though a teacher goes, here, right?
Go do
and
your
feel
thing.
like your first stand-up comic gig or something, right? So you actually felt as though there was support there and the teacher was helping you. So you all had somewhat bit of a plan together to communicate to the students.
Totally.
So you talked about Blink marketing, you talked about marketing in general, and then you actually brought in something for the kids to walk through to really understand. Can you share that with us?
We had recently done a marketing campaign, the creative side of it here, and it just was this mail out. First we had to research which companies each one of us wanted to go to. We had to get a specific name. We couldn't just blindly mail them to a company. So we went through that, and I just told them what all we went into and talked about the piece. It says, "Yo, let me in." And if you notice, Blink doesn't have a foot. And so when you open this up, it's our marketing piece that talks about what all Blink marketing can do. And then now that we've got our foot in the door,
Oh
which
my gosh.
that's a compressed T.
Oh my gosh.
And so it showed that we can be creative, but it also opened a great door for us to be able to follow back up with that company. So we just talked about that, kind of think outside the.
Oh, that's, can I look at that?
Yes.
That's really neat. So you brought something in so the kids could actually see. Did you have a chance for any of them to start thinking about how they could maybe use this as a model, not this particular thing, but to walk them through the process? So like, this is what we need to do. Here are some of the tools we're going to use to accomplish that goal, and then here's how we've accomplished that goal.
I think it helped them to know the steps that you take, that you just don't mail it out. And like I said, you don't mail things out blindly. But there's a whole world of how you can introduce marketing. We also talked about companies, different kinds of companies that you can work with. From one child was really interested in the sports industry, and so we could talk about that. You can talk about corporates, you can talk about camps. It really helped them to see there's many different ways to marketing.
And as a former principal, Deb, you know, that excites me. And the reason that excites me is because when I walk into classrooms and I evaluate teachers, I watch the students engaging with print. And when I hear that conversation, that authentic conversation happening between Tracy and the students, that print's coming off the page, and now they're actually bringing that to life, and they're going through that process, and it just makes it so realistic for them, and it's easier for them to understand, and I think gets them more excited about the field in general.
Well, I think both of you could talk about this part. I mean, you know, when we talked the last show was about our student internships, and we've kind of given nuggets of that throughout the last couple of shows, but specifically the last one. And I think one of the things we see that's really, really great about the internship program is some kids can decide, well, maybe the thing I wanted to do since I was 7, now that I'm in it and getting my feet wet and getting my hands dirty, that may not be the thing I really want to do. So I like that even in a classroom amount of time, you may have piqued someone's interest or caused someone to think, you know, I really do like that. That might be fun, but I might want to look at something else, something a little bit different. And I think that's as important as students are, as we're getting kids ready for college and getting them ready for careers, that they can understand that the more they know about life after school, that maybe their choices will be not necessarily more correct, just more informed. Do you think?
I totally agree, and the student internship piece is a wonderful opportunity for students to take a more in-depth look. What a wonderful opportunity, though, when Tracy comes into a classroom to spark that interest for that student, then to want to take that step further and to look at it a little bit deeper. Because she had an opportunity to engage with how many kids did you
Probably
engage
about
with?
30 per class.
30?
So 60.
So close to 100 kids? No,
60 to 100. I did 2 classes.
2
so
classes,
60 to
okay.
100.
Yeah, so a great opportunity to go in and say, this is what it's all about. This is what it looks like. And I can guarantee you from that opportunity of you talking with kids, there are kids in there that are now going to really think more deeply about this as a career for them because of things that you said that you may not have even known that you said while you were in there. And we talked a little bit before the segment came on that students really know what they know based on the experiences that they've had and the people that are around them. So what a great opportunity to bring someone in from a different background, doing something different that maybe their parents didn't do, or maybe their close circle of friends and their parents didn't do, to expose them to more and to give them more opportunity, because we all know you want to help set up our kids for a career that they're interested in, that they're engaged in. This is something that they're going to do for the rest of their lives, possibly.
Right. And I think it also shows that when somebody cares and comes in from the community, that the community also really wants to make sure kids are understanding what the real world's going to be like. And that whatever, and I'm sure sometimes bringing in the personal story of kind of how you got to Blink, if that was part of what you were speaking about, I think that's really fun for kids to understand too. That the trajectory isn't necessarily straight and narrow, but it can take maybe filled with all kinds of curves or maybe a real detour before you find out what's really fun for you to do at one point. So piggybacking on what you said, right, we've made our circle bigger. It's not just what our own little network, familial network is, but now having this community network and having someone like you come in. So what were some of the questions? Do you remember what some of the questions were?
Not really exactly what kind of questions
Sure.
there were, but one thing I wanted to piggyback on you, that piece just didn't happen. The part that I think was so interesting to get kids thinking as far as marketing, somebody's got to be creative. Somebody's got to be a graphic artist, which was something big that I thought would be really cool to bring it, make sure every high school has, as far as that part of the design goes. And I think that was mainly what they thought about too. It's not just this side, because some people may go, oh, I don't like sales, or I don't want to go talk to people.
Yes.
If you don't have great graphics and you don't have a creative mind,
Yes.
your marketing isn't going to be successful.
So maybe at that moment you were letting everybody know that this piece here takes a lot of people to put together. So again, going deeper into what that marketing class allowed someone to do. So if someone was just there to fill a class time, right? It was just part of their program of studies, like I've never taken this, let me just try it. All of a sudden you've opened that world for kids who have known for a while that they might really like this whole marketing thing, but they're not really sure exactly where their talent lies.
Right.
If it isn't in more of the kind of hands-on creative graphic designer way, you've given them something. But I think also when you read the copy and you look at this, and then when you said foot in the door, oh my gosh, both of us just went, are you kidding me? That's fantastic. Then that also gives somebody who maybe have that maybe more of a creative writer or may like to write kind of really pithy things, then you've given kids from this a piece of maybe the stuff that they really like to do, and you've shown them that this is now an opportunity or perhaps an option, which I think is what we're always trying to do, make kids ready for whatever their options can be college-wise, and then whatever options possibly can be. And it's really hard because the industries are constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
So that we stay on the cutting edge. I hate that jargon, but on the cutting edge, so that we're a bit ahead, so the kids can really have a chance to find out what they want to do. So, couple final questions. Will you go back?
Oh, I'd go, yes, any place, yes. It was easy, it was fun. I felt young. I was back in high school.
Oh, I know. Nice. Well, good. I'm really glad, because for some people, I don't think they would want to step, maybe it's middle school, they wouldn't want to step back into. I really appreciate that you've come on and you've helped us through this. Do you have any parting questions for Miss Tracy?
Just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it takes a little bit of courage, but once you step in there and you see, it's a lot of fun, I think. And I feel like we're oftentimes asking for money from our businesses, but this is a way that we can give back as a business sector without the financial obligation. And it's so important for our kids to experience this. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And I suspect there'll be some follow-up conversations with kids as well, too. So if they have questions for you, they know where you are.
Yes.
And they know they can get in contact with you. So you were at Summit, so maybe we'll have like a speaker's tour for Tracy and Blink Marketing.
Yeah, there you go. I've offered. Happy to do it.
Great. Thank you again. And Dave, thanks for echoing. It really is important that it's not just a matter of our financial resources, but the expertise that you brought to that classroom was just fantastic. So thank you for that. I want you guys to hang on for one more quick little segment. Tracy, there is something we do in November. It's called the Career Fair, and it's this huge blowout we do for 8th graders. And we also include Franklin Special, which we're really glad about. And it's at the Ag Center. So we're going to prime you a little bit during the break, so we can talk about that and see how a community can come together to make that the best it possibly can be. So Tracy Hill, thank you so much. And we'll be back. We'll be back with Money Matters in just a moment.
Where can I find out about the Venus flytrap?
Where can I research information on my business competitors?
What is the safety record on the car I want?
Where can I research careers?
Where?
I'm all shook up.
The Tennessee Electronic Library. That's where. And it's free to everyone in our state. Now go to your public library and find out how you can log on and get your password to a world of information just for living in our state. Or you can probably even figure out the password just by listening to my voice.
I'm all shook up.
And welcome back to Money Matters. Okay, now there's another thing that happens. I just told you about it. It's in November. It's with our 8th graders, all the 8th graders in Williamson County, Franklin Special School District and Williamson County Schools. It happens at the Ag Center. And we're going to talk with Dave Allen and Tracy Hill about it. It's our career fair. I want to say career expo, but I know it's career fair. All right, so tell me the genius behind that.
Well, we have a captive audience of over 3,000 8th graders. And again, I want to speak just from a principal's perspective. The principals in this county and the counselors in this county do a wonderful job talking with students about careers, career choice, high school course scheduling, beginning in the 8th grade year and sometimes even a little before that. But this is a great opportunity, a culminating event, if you will, in an 8th grade year for students to go and to see up to 100, hopefully over 100 this year, exhibitors and booths and different careers and different career paths, and get an opportunity, if these are courses that we offer in the high schools, that they would want to take some of those courses, or at least line their courses up because this is maybe a career that they would like to pursue once they move through their high school years.
So it's all about connections, right? How do we connect the classroom with the boardroom, those kinds of connections. And I also know that in the 8th grade, and I will not get the name of the test correct, but I know that we give them kind of an aptitude and what they might like to do kind of test. That's great education jargon, but so at the end of it, they have some sense about, hey, I'm good at this according to this test. I'm good at this, and then we link them, I think, with career clusters. And so they actually can say, well, gosh, I like to do creative design work. Okay, cool. So here's a couple things career-wise, which gives kids not this is the only thing you can do with your life, but this may give some direction. And so having that kind of roadmap, I think, in connection with the career fair has got to be enabling and empowering to students who are, like it or not, beginning to feel the pressures of what am I going to do with my life, or gosh, I'm not really sure what's out there for me to do.
That's right.
Can you speak to that?
Well, all the research will tell you that you are going to be most productive. You are going to enjoy life to the fullest if you're doing something that you really like, if it's an area of strength of yours. So that assessment that you're referring to is the Explorer assessment. Yes. And so I have an 8th grade daughter, so I'm living this firsthand. They took the Explorer assessment a few weeks back, and they're going to go, the counselors will go into the classroom and they will go through the results with the students in it. And basically what it shows them is, based on your responses, these are areas that you may find as a strength of yours that you might want to pursue a career in. And so given that information, then it's our job as adults to make sure that we expand the horizons, if you will, of the children. And that's what that career fair is for, to give as many opportunities to see as many different careers as possible, to say, okay, well, this Explore assessment that I took said I might want to look at something in this particular area. we want to make sure that we have that area represented at the career fair.
Let's talk about the representation thing. So let's say a student, it looks like they're interested in engineering. As of today, who's going to be there?
Well, as of today, we have a good sign up right now, but we've got Microsoft on board, we have Nissan on board. Of course, we have our local fire department, our local police department. We have a good representation, but there's been all kinds of areas of interest that we don't have represented at this point. Sports marketing is one of the areas that we're looking for. We're always looking for representation in the information technology and the IT fields. We need more representation in the marketing field.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we just happen to have someone here today
Nice.
that we could hit up for that.
Can I throw out there, I network a lot with industries, mortgage, real estate, IT, phone, different things. What can I take to those groups, those meetings, and put it out there, or emails, to see if I can get some businesses interested? Insurance, home, auto, life, health, all
Oh my
that.
gosh.
Yeah, you're a good connection.
Yes.
Well, we want to make it as easy as possible. I want to make it as easy as possible. All that anyone has to do is just email me and say, hey, I have an interest in being a part of this. And so my email is davida1@wcs.edu. And if they would just send me an email, I'll make sure that they get all the information. The event takes place on November 13th. And like I said before, over 3,000 students are going to be there. And we do the very best we can at honoring those sponsors that we have that come in. So we want to get everyone's name out there. But more importantly, just the large amount of exposure that we can have for our students. It's just a wonderful event.
Okay, now what I remember is you're going to see a lot of school buses. So if you're somebody who's going to participate, if you're a business that's going to participate, or a nonprofit, because that's a growing industry too for our kids. So I think that might be another shout out if you want to think about some nonprofits, because a lot of these kids know about, filling up a fuel bag, but maybe don't quite understand that they could actually work at a place that is that kind of an agency. So that would be great too. You pull up to the Ag Center and you see all these school buses, and you see 8th graders that are dressed for success, shall we say. And then they go around the Ag Center, and I think it looks much like a trade show. I remember that, there were robots were there last year. There were some health sciences things that were there last year. I know down on the floor where the rodeo usually is, we have canine, I believe, and the horse patrol is there. I'm going to say all this wrong. We have ambulances there. We have all kinds of different things. I think we even have some of the armed services are there. So I think we have a full complement of things. So when you walk in, it's really this cornucopia, if you will, to use something seasonally, of all these different careers that people could be involved with. Let's see, am I describing it correctly?
You are describing it correctly. I love the fact that you brought up the student dress. This event is taken very seriously.
Yes.
Our students take it seriously, our teachers, our counselors. This is a really big event for them, and we really want to teach the kids to put their best foot forward. And so I think any new business that would come on board with us that would be a part of the career fair, I think they would really be impressed.
Great. Well, I think we've already reached out to you, and you're on camera now, so.
Yeah, well, that's right. I'll be there.
So we're really, that would be great with some more of those things. That would be awesome. Tracy, thank you so much for your leadership, first of all, right here, in terms of talking about the career fair, but also taking the plunge and going in and affecting at least the lives of 60 students. My suspicion is, and Dave, I'm sure you'd underscore this, the conversations they had after that class with some of their friends made that class more popular, certainly, but also maybe lit the fire under some other kids to think about your particular industry, or just think about industry and what they're going to do after school. So thank you so much for that. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other teachers watching who'll be real excited to have you come into their classroom as well.
That's great.
This is a great way for the community to embrace our kids and show them what it's like after they've worked really hard, learning about algebra, learning about European history, learning about chemistry and physics, and trying to figure out with what they've learned what the rest of their life is going to look like. So it is really important for our community members like you to get involved. We have the career fair, we have student internships, and we have a speakers bureau, all courtesy of the Chamber. That's why money matters. Thank you for watching today. My name is Deb Enright, and thank you also to Daryl Thompson for his continued sponsorship of this program. See you next time.